So here we go with another one. What's this, number 4 in the last 5 days? That's not so bad compared to what we've been doing here lately. So anyway, tonight, it's going to be a little bit more instructional than the last one was. Of course, the last one was fairly instructional. We're going to try to get some better shots this time. Tonight, I'm going to show you guys how to do a switched receptacle. It's real simple. It's real easy. Again, like I said in the last video, I know that a lot of you folks already know how to do a lot of this, but there's a lot of people out there who don't. So we take these times to teach when we're in a good spot to be able to teach. And then we just put straight out progress content when we're in a good place to do that. But right now, we're in a good place to right now we're in a good place to teach. So what we want to do, I'm going to get a home run up here from the panel box. Thomas Russell, you asked that in your comment. I have not typed out the answer yet, but in answer to your question, yes, we're doing home runs straight down to the panel box. We have plenty of room in there for them. So I like as many home runs as I can when I'm wiring a building. I like as many dedicated circuits as I can. For one, if you have to troubleshoot something, it makes it a whole lot easier. Secondly, it's just easier, for me anyway, to it's nice if I want to work on something, just be able to flip a breaker and not worry about killing half the building. When I wire a house, a lot of times I'll do the lights on one circuit, I'll do my outlets on another circuit, and we just kind of go along that way. But so anyway, they are straight up home runs with MC cable back to the panel box, and I'm going to run that first. I won't bother running the camera because that's kind of just quick stuff. Get that done, and then we'll get a switch mounted and I'll show you guys what we're doing and how we're doing it. So anyway, stay tuned. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the other side of it. So you see a lot of people when they're wiring their places, their shops, their barns, they'll take the spool of wire and they'll leave it all in one spool and they'll just yank wire off of it. You end up getting a lot of kinks, a lot of twists, stuff like that. It actually, in the long run, makes it harder to do. So I'll show you what I do. It's going to look more time consuming. By the time I run that wire and everything, it's a lot cleaner. Doing it this way, I can kind of get a feel for where my panel box is from up here. And I can kind of spool off enough accordingly. That's her. All I'll do now is I'll feed it down through the hole and get it over to the panel box. We should be good to go. Let's do some electrocutional work. So I told you guys I'm going to show you how to do a switched outlet, which it's nothing hard, nothing fancy about it. And like I said, I know a lot of you already know how to do this stuff, but there's a lot of people who don't. So we won't belabor that point too much. So what we have our switch, have our outlet. Now I only want the top of this outlet to be switched. I want the bottom just to plug in something if I want it hot all the time. So what I'm going to do, there's a little tab here. It's on both sides, connects the hot and the neutral together. I'm not going to break the neutral because it's going to be on the same circuit, but I am going to break this hot tab. All you do with them, I just work them until they break. So what that does by breaking that, it actually takes and splits that circuit up. So all of a sudden now I can put a switch on this guy and still have this one hot all the time, and that's what we're going for here. Yes, I use side cuts for a lot of stuff. I found them. So this top switch is going to go to top's going to go to our switch. Remember, I put my grounds upside down, as a lot of you noticed. Do that for a reason. When I used to do electrical work as a job, I ended up working in a bunch of apartments on a local military base here for quite a while. And you wouldn't believe how often you go to one of these places and you would have, oh shoot, help me out here. I come and I'd find pennies or nickels or something stuck in between the hot and the neutral, created a short there because it'd fall down behind a computer desk. And it's one of those things, there we go. It's one of those things that kind of left an impression, and if you look in a lot of commercial buildings, that's how they want it done. So, we have 2 hot wires, 1 for each side. Always make sure you're making a very good and clean connection. Be surprised how many people will make a connection and they'll end up, they'll get a piece of insulation under that lug. They'll have a crap connection. That's where you get your fire hazards and stuff like that. I've seen neutrals in panel boxes where the insulation's halfway under the lug. You get a poor neutral and you start having problems. There's the tape. So again, we're going to tape everything. Trickier with these ones, the way that ground screw is on there. Also had a comment, somebody asked why I was doing that, the purpose of taping the sides. The biggest purpose of that is that if you're going to work on this thing and for whatever reason you have to work on it live, you're not grounding the side of that box out. And grounding that box out on the, I almost did it again. Not grounded it out, the screws, the hot screws against the metal box. Can't talk. That's why you see I don't talk a lot when I'm right in the middle of doing something, because sometimes I jumble my words so bad. Okay. What am I doing here? Losing my mind is what I'm doing. All right, that's pretty much it. Of course, you guys will see the rest of it when we go to put it on. So these covers I'm using right here, these metal covers, you actually fasten these, your switches and receptacles on before you put it all together. It's hard to remember to hold stuff out in front of me so you guys could see it on the camera. Used to working close to my body. Does anybody know why the traditional method of putting a light switch in is so that when it's on, it's up? Same thing with breakers a lot of times, or main panel, your main panel disconnects. I'll give you about 30 seconds to figure that out. Some of you are probably going to pause the video and Google it to tell me what it is. That is done for a couple of reasons. So say you're in a dark and you kind of universally know that switch is positioned, down is off, up is on. The whole idea behind that is kind of more for safety. But another thing is firemen, especially in the case of main breakers and panel boxes. A lot of times that's so your firemen, if it's rooms filled up with smoke and it's blinding, say, they can actually go in there and just by the feel know that that breaker is off or that main panel disconnect. I hate these things. Kind of asshole designed these. Yeah, I know, strong language. But when you're working on stuff, the language is usually strong. Yeah, you got a little nut on the back side there. We're gonna be like that, are we? I'm looking forward to the day that I can insulate this entire shop because I'm freezing my ass off right now. It is a little chilly. Still better than standing in a snowbank, but it's still a little chilly. There we go. It's going to go on the wall just like that. So, grounds up, switch on. Keep in mind that this top outlet is what we want switched, so we're going to make that connection right now while I've got it outside of the box. Then I don't have to think about it when I'm wiring inside there. The other thing a lot of you noticed that I thought was kind of funny, I had a bunch of you comment on these wire nuts I was using and using the nut driver to tighten them up. These are Ideal Twister tan wire nuts. And the top of these wire nuts are actually made to take a 5/16 nut driver. A lot of electricians carry that in their tool bag to begin with. So it's kind of a no-brainer. It's actually a very nice thing. Oh, what did I just drop there? Tape measure end that came out. So, this one's ready to go in the box. You guys see that okay? So we have our top outlets, the wires in through the switch. All of your hot wires are going to tie together, including that red wire. You can see that. And of course all your grounds and all your neutrals. I always check, make sure nothing came apart. Well, I complain about being cold, now I'm about sitting on the wood stove doing this. Some people you just can't make happy. Come on. I'm left-handed too. I hate to be that nutsack who's always making disclaimers on my videos, you know, don't try this at home crap, but unfortunately, in the world we live in today, unfortunately, it is terribly necessary. There have been, believe it or not, there's been lawsuits against YouTubers because people have gone home, tried the stuff they've seen on YouTube, gotten hurt, burned something down. Well, I don't want to be one of those guys, so here's the deal. If you're not comfortable doing electrical work, hire an electrician. Do your own research. I've said that for years on this channel since we've started. Don't always take my word for it. Do your own research. As far as grounding the metal boxes go, I had a couple of comments on that, probably from some service guys and real electricians. I look at that as a couple of ways, and I'm going to tell you, ground your boxes. It's going to be one of those practice, do as I say, not as I do type things. Way I've always looked at it when I've run into issues with grounds and things not tripping breakers when they should, and I have come across metal boxes before that ended up getting, you get zapped on because they're not installed properly. Most of the time that happens, it's not necessarily that the ground is not proper, or the box is not properly grounded. Most of the time that is you do not have a good building ground, a good earth ground, a good neutral, whatever the cause may be. It's usually, I've found over the years, it's generally been an issue with the incoming power. The way I look at it, and some of you, I know this is gonna hit the comments a little bit from some of you guys who do this for a living. I just want to make it clear that this metal strapping right here on this outlet, your ground wire goes right to that metal strap. This metal strap's attached directly to the metal box the way that I do it. If I have one of these plastic tabs on here, that little plastic tab always comes off, so I have a good solid connection metal to metal there. Granted, I'm doing that more to explain myself than to tell you how to do it. That's why I do it the way I do it. What I'm telling you is you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, you can go to your local electrical supply house. You can get the green screws to screw into those boxes, those 4 square boxes. You can also get the pigtails already made up with the screw on them to screw into those boxes. It's a no muss, no fuss type thing. It's not bad. But I just wanted to make that clear before I got too far in it. But obviously do your own research. If you're not comfortable doing electrical work, if it's something that bothers you, if it scares you, if it makes you nervous, which it should make everybody who does it nervous, a couple things I can recommend. Hire an electrician, get yourself a voltmeter. You can get one of those dummy sticks all day long, but if the batteries go dead in those things and you don't realize it, and you go to hit that on a live wire and it says, oh, no power there, you go to touch it and you're getting juiced, don't rely on those sticks all the time. They're fine if you got a fresh battery in them and all that good stuff. But in my field of work, I'm doing a lot of work on 480 volt equipment, a lot of 3-phase stuff, a lot of 277 volt stuff. I even have paper mills that have 565 volt going to motors that I troubleshoot live often. I do not place my life in the hands of one of those little glow wands. We call them dummy sticks in our field. I don't trust them. I know they work, but for me, I want that voltmeter. I make sure I have a good voltmeter. I have a good fluke that I use. But that's my take on those. So get something that you could test voltage with. Make sure your circuits are dead. The other thing I can recommend is, or that you really need to do, I'm having trouble speaking. English is becoming just a odd language for me to master these days. So anyway, another thing is check into your local codes. A lot of it goes state by state, some goes county by county. There is a national electrical code. Follow those codes to the T. If something happens and you don't follow those codes or you didn't get a proper inspection, the liability for that work is on you. If your house burns down because you wired it yourself and you did not follow those codes, things weren't inspected the way they were supposed to be, a lot of times your insurance is not going to cover that. They're going to go through the paper trail just to see what's been done, Always keep that in mind. That is super important to keep in mind. That's a big thing. And a lot of times, your code people, your electrical inspectors, if you call them and ask them questions of what you need to do, a lot of times they're more than willing to help you out to get you the answers you need so you could do it yourself. I don't recommend everybody doing this kind of thing themselves, but like I said, wiring up outlets, switches, it's a pretty easy thing once you understand how it all works. I've never hesitated to do it myself, but I've been in these trades for almost 20 years. So maybe there's a little bit of level of I just deal with it every day, so it's nothing new. But there was a time when it was new. So anyway, enough of that nonsense. Why don't I show you guys how this light switch works and how I just eliminated 5 extension cords that were strung across the floor. Now I can come up top of the stairs, flick a switch, plug a saw into an outlet, not trip on the cord. Oh, this is awesome. This is like, boy, this is like my wedding night. No, wasn't that? Well, yeah, something like that. So hold on a second. I'll move the camera. Just to prove to you folks that we're not doing the nut and shell game here, I get a light plugged in over here, over the lathe bench. We'll just knock everything over in the process. So, the set outlets over here. There we go. Look at that, we have a light. Now these outlets tie into the bottom outlet over here. They are not our switched outlet. Now I'm going to do some magic here. Ha! Look at that! The light works on its own. Our lights turn on and off. Hopefully you guys don't have epilepsy, because I could just sit here and do this for an hour. Wow! I can turn the lights off and on with a switch. Oh, it's amazing. Just amazing. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one.